The Ukrainian army attacks Russian patrol ships. The raid occurred near the Black Sea, approximately 340 kilometers from Sevastopol. Three Navy drones targeted Sergei Kotov. Sergei. Three Navy drones targeted Sergei Kotov. Three Navy drones targeted Sergei Kotov and Vasily Baikov. Two Russian Black Sea Fleet patrol ships were assaulted, and it was rumored that one of the ships was actually a cargo ship bringing weaponry from Syria. Following the strike, Russian sailors allegedly requested evacuation. The ships could have been damaged. There have been 5 recorded injuries and 1 death. There is no proof that the ship sank. The current coordinates of the ship's location and the number of victims are provided in the intercepted discussion between the helicopter crews and the Russian Federation's coastal aviation services. These are Ukrainian third generational naval drones that conducted an open ocean intercept of the Russian missile corvettes Sergei Kotov and Vasily Baikov, 211 miles southwest of Sevastopol. Ukrainian Advance Robotyne update. Ukrainian troops marched through Russian defenses and advanced 5 kilometers along a wide front. They are now outside Verbov and on the eastern edge of Robotyne. The Russian defense appears to be eroding. And here is something amusing. A grenade startled a Russian tank. The Polish Ministry of Defense has announced the acquisition of a Belarusian Milmi 8 HIP. The Polish Ministry of Defense has announced the acquisition of Belarusian Milmi 8 HIP transport helicopter and a Milmi 24 Hind transport helicopter. Attack helicopters did briefly enter Polish airspace earlier today near Białowieża. Attack helicopters did briefly enter Polish airspace earlier today near Białowieża, which is around 2 miles from Polish-Belarusian border. The Polish military previously assumed they did not cross the border because they flew low enough to avoid detection by air defense and radar systems. Belarus is attempting to escalate, according to Poland. According to U.S. NATO Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield, an attack by Wagner soldiers on a NATO territory is similar to a Russian attack. In response to a question from Polish journalist, she made that In response to a question from a Polish journalist, she made that statement. He wanted to know how concerned the United States is about the presence of Wagner mercenaries in Belarus, a country bordering Poland. A massive explosion and fire broke out in downtown Bryansk, 70 miles from the Ukrainian border. Multiple partners have provided Ukraine with a large amount of artillery, including substantial precision rounds and counter battery radar. Russian generals and troops have complained extensively about Russia's incapacity to fight against drone and radar-directed artillery strikes, according to lead sources. And according to battlefield reports, Russian artillery strikes that relied on heavy saturation fire with dumb rounds have been significantly reduced. And according to battlefield reports, Russian artillery strikes that relied on heavy saturation fire with dumb rounds have been significantly reduced. This, uh, this has also been this has also been res- this has also been responsible for roughly 70% or more of Ukrainian casualties. As a result, this reduction is a significant advancement. Almost all of these artillery pieces were produced during the Soviet era. They have metal fatigue and are already being cannibalized to keep the weapons firing. The sheer number of artifacts the sheer number of artifacts destroyed by Ukrainian fire is equally astounding. According to Eritrea's president, the United States does not produce anything but merely prints money. His Muscovy financial counselors assure him that they are creating money since his Muscovy financial counselors assure him that they are creating money since they don't produce anything at all, they print money. The monetary system which imposes sanctions here and sanctions there was one of the means of global weapons, stated Eritrea's president Isaiah Afwerki. Putin seems to occur with his groundbreaking disclosure from the head of a debt-ridden country, where 66% of the population lives in poverty. Russians are expelled from a hotel in Antalya, Turkey, on the Mediterranean coast. Russians are expelled from a hotel in Antalya, Turkey, on the Mediterranean coast, after attempting to steal 77 pounds of food and drink from the hotel. Russian women is heard screaming that she stole everything from the hotel staff who caught her, adding, "For you, for you." A Ukrainian defender recounts how Zhuzha the dog brought food to Ukrainian warriors stuck on positions without supplies from the 77th Air Mobile Brigade. A Ukrainian defender recounts how Zhuzha, the dog, brought food to Ukrainian warriors stuck on positions without supplies from the 77th Air Mobile Brigade. She then went to remain with the troops. Please pay attention. This is what Ukrainian armed forces go through in order. This is what Ukrainian armed forces go through in order to save. This is what Ukrainian armed forces go through in order to save. This is what Ukrainian armed forces go. This is what Ukrainian armed forces go through in order to safeguard. This is what Ukrainian armed forces go through in order to safeguard Ukraine's and Europe's freedom. Thank you for taking the time to watch.